Did you know the #1 selling passenger vehicle in North America is the Toyota RAV4? #1 selling SUV in Canada is also the RAV4, 4 years running. Well, we have unplugged because we have a brand new RAV4 to show you today. It's the RAV4, but it's not any RAV4. We are going prime time. Well, here she is. It's been long awaited, the new RAV4 Prime. Now in Canada and the US, it comes in only 2 trim levels, and that's SE and XSE. And on top of that, there's also a technology package you can add on to the XSE. So this one happens to be the XSE. So what's different about the Prime on the outside than the regular RAV4? Well, not a whole bunch, as you can see. It's still a very athletic looking SUV. All Primes come standard with LED headlamps. If you go into the XSE with the tech package, it comes with auto leveling LEDs. Also, like other RAV4s, you can get this in a 2-tone paint combination. This is a gray and black, but what's interesting is this black has little specks of blue in it, which looks really good. Standard are 18-inch wheels. This XSE comes with a 19-inch. And this is one of the biggest giveaways. It says plug-in hybrid right there. On the back it says Prime, and on the right side you have your actual receptacle to plug it in. Left side here is the fuel tank. There is a fuel release inside. The great thing about the regular RAV4 hybrid is that you didn't compromise in storage area with the regular gas version, and the same applies for this Prime. Now, a power liftgate does not come with the SC. You have to go to the XSE to get the power liftgate, and if you want to get the tech package, you get the hands-free option as well. Just a little slight kick and up it comes. Now, when you open it up, guess what it looks like? It looks like a regular RAV4. You can fold those second row seats down for more storage room. Underneath is a spare tire, and this tech package also comes with a 1500 watt built-in inverter, which should take care of all your household appliances or camping gear. Maybe you want to blow something up with an air compressor. That's going to handle it, and maybe even make a margarita while you're camping as well. Well, the Prime on the outside kind of looks the same. It kind of looks the same on the inside, and the RAV4 Prime drives the same. Well, the outside of the Prime kind of looks the same, and the inside of the Prime kind of looks the same, but the RAV4 Prime does not drive the same whatsoever. Obviously, this is the plug-in hybrid version, so let's talk about what is driving this new SUV. And that is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder Atkinson cycle engine. Puts out 177 horsepower and 165 pound-feet of torque. Well, that's just the minor part. The major part is that you have the electric drive component. So now you have larger electric motors in the front. Previously, there was 88 kilowatts of electric motors in the front. Now it's 134. In the rear, since this is all-wheel drive, you still have a 40 kilowatt motor in the back. That is all powered by a brand new lithium-ion battery pack, and it's 18.1 kilowatt hours, which is pretty big, meaning you get a pretty decent range. So in ideal driving, they estimate that you can get 979 kilometers for total range of this vehicle. That's combined gasoline and electric. Now that's gonna depend on if that's all you're driving. If you're just gonna drive straight for 979 kilometers based on their testing, that's what you're gonna get. But if you wanna drive just EV alone, this will do 68 kilometers of EV driving. So when it's fully charged, 68 kilometers, and you can drive up to 135 kilometers per hour. So right now we are on the highway. This is definitely not a good representation of how far we can go because we are traveling at highway speed. I want to run it out on some hills and just to see how much we can get out of it. Our tank wasn't completely full, but the battery was completely charged, and it showed only actually 55 kilometers of range, actually 50 if you have the climate control on. So why not 68 when it says 50? Well, it's going to average. It all depends on how much you're driving, how fast you're driving, and what hills. And you can kind of see it doesn't correlate exactly to the distance traveled compared to the distance left. One thing that I was really curious to see if this RAV4 had or not was if it came with a heat pump. And yes, it does. And that makes a big deal for me. You see, with a heat pump, you don't need to rely on the gasoline engine to use the climate control. So, a lot of times with other plug-in hybrids that I've tested, they do rely on the gasoline engine. So you start the vehicle up, it might be a little bit cool in the morning, and even though I'm only driving, let's say, you know, a few kilometers to drop the kids off at school or daycare, that gasoline engine is going to start up. And it's going to start up until it's warm enough to provide heat. And that just kills your fuel economy, especially if that's all you're doing. If you're just doing short trips, it defeats the purpose in my eyes of having all that EV. So this does not rely on that, and that's awesome. The Prime also has connected services, which you can use with your smartphone, your Apple Watch, Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, and it allows you to see the state of charge of your vehicle, what your range is. You can also turn on the climate control ahead of time, so you can precondition it. And even if you don't use that connected service, even on the key fob, there's a button you can press to turn on your climate control ahead of time. The Prime, by the way, is no slouch. In fact, it's the second quickest vehicle in Toyota's entire lineup, next to the Toyota Supra. That's pretty incredible, being that it's an SUV. So when you combine the actual horsepower from the gasoline engine and the electric motors, you get 302 horsepower. It'll do 0 to 100K in 6 seconds, so 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.8, I believe. So it is very, very quick. Here's our mileage update. We have traveled 41 kilometers and we have 21 kilometers left in our EV range tank, let's just say. And as I mentioned, we are doing highway speeds going up a hill. We're actually going up a mountain pass, heading up to close to Whistler right now. So not optimal, but it looks like we're gonna probably hit at least 60, I think. And the air conditioning is on, by the way. Some people associate sportiness with acceleration, which this vehicle, if that's how you associate it, yeah, then you can say it's sporty, but it is not a sports car. This is an SUV. We are on the Sea to Sky Highway right now. It's a coastal highway. It's very, very windy, but this thing just handles these curves just beautifully. This would be a great touring vehicle for this type of thing. The center of gravity is very low because of all the weight of the batteries. So going around the corners, it's so planted. However, if you want a sports car drive, this is not it. If you're on tighter roads and you are really demanding in the corners, really hitting those corners hard, well, first of all, these all seasons aren't going to handle it. This will pull yourself out of the corners, no problem, and that all-wheel drive system definitely helps. Still going to feel very flat when you're going around a corner, but it's just going to slide, that's all. The steering is fairly direct. I like that the weight of it is not too light. And if you do want, you can go into your drive mode and go into sport mode, and that's going to give you a little bit more performance, and it adjusts the steering just a little bit more for you. I kind of find that it's fine just in normal mode though. I've had a chance to test out these brakes quite a bit. Let's just feel them out in this corner here. They're fairly progressive. They're not too mushy for hybrid brakes. Some of them do have that kind of mushy feel. And of course, when you do just touch that brake near that top, you are going to regenerate electricity back in. And also, even if you're not touching the brake. If you're going down large hills, I went down a large mountain hill and I regenerated probably about 4 or 5 kilometers of power back in, which is pretty impressive. The beauty of a plug-in hybrid is that you don't have to charge it if you don't really want to, but what about charging? So how do you charge your RAV4 Prime? Pretty simple. You get home, you plug it into your regular home outlet if that's all you have. It's going to take about 12 hours though, but you know what? Just do it overnight. If you have access to a level 2 charger, or for instance, right now I'm at IKEA and they have a whole bunch of outlets here and I'm going to do some shopping, you're going to plug in and it's going to take anywhere from 2.5 to 4.5 hours, depending on what charger you have in your vehicle. In Canada, the 6.6 kilowatt charger is standard across the board, whether you get the SE or the XSE. In the US, the SE gets a 3.3 kilowatt charger standard and you have to upgrade to the 6.6. But one nice thing about it is you start the vehicle or just hit the power button, pass accessory, and you get a little display saying activate my room mode. I'm going to hit yes, and what that does, it allows you to use the shore power while we're plugged in here, so I can use all the accessories in here, for instance the air conditioning or the heat unit. And that's pretty important because I may be waiting out here for someone, let's say, and it's quite warm out and it's nice to be comfortable. Be aware though, this room mode can disconnect by itself, meaning do not leave any pets or kids in here unattended, thinking that, hey, it's cool enough for them and I'm just going to run in and run back out or whatever like that. Don't do that. It's not worth it. Personally, if this was my vehicle, I would just plug it into my 120 at home. And you know what? When you're driving around here and there, and if there is a free level 2 charger just happens to be there, just plug in. Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty simple and pretty painless. All right, I'm bringing you along with the actual odometer reading right now. We are 0.5 kilometer away from 68 kilometers, which is the range, the projected range of this PHEV. And we are showing 2 kilometers left of EV range. So that's pretty, there we go, 68K. And we are still on EV. So how much farther can we go? Can we do 71? Do we hear 71? 71, 71, 71. This 1 kilometer is lasting a long time. Let's see. We're going up and down hills though, so I guess it's regenerating some power when we're going down these hills here. You can see the charge indicator. Do some passing here. I'm not babying this at all, by the way, just driving normal. 71K, there we go. EV is off, so we hit 71 kilometers. Now the gasoline engine has turned on, yet it doesn't feel any different. We're gonna go up a hill here in a little bit here. Okay, there's a little slight bit of vibration now. You can feel from the gasoline engine. I'm not sure the viewers out there if you were able to hear anything different. I didn't hear anything. Mind you, this pavement is not the smoothest, quietest pavement. Okay, let's put it to the floor. Okay, so you can hear that engine whine out a little bit now, the gasoline engine, and you can hear the transmission. This is it's not a CVT, it's an e-CVT, and other videos I've explained that they're not the same thing. It doesn't rely on the belt system like a traditional CVT does. So it doesn't whine out that much, and it brings the RPMs very low, very quick whenever you're driving it. It's very responsive, and that matched with the electric system. They've tuned it just perfect. The electric system just picks up where there's any deficiencies in the gas engine. So mid-range is amazing, absolutely amazing. As for pricing, remember these are in Canadian dollars, so if you don't live in this market, make sure to check with your local area to see what your pricing is. But The RAV4 comes in 2 trim levels. There's the SE and then there's the XSE, which we are in right now. So the SE starts at $44,990. Yes, it is $10 short of that threshold to qualify for the federal incentives, for the EV incentives. So that gives you $5,000 off. And then if you live in a province that has provincial rebates, Quebec and British Columbia right now have them, you can get additional rebates. In BC, it's $1,500. In Quebec, it's $8,000. So if you combine both those together in Quebec, you can get $13,000 off of your RAV4 Prime. In BC, it's $6,500. Plus there are some other non-government incentives also available, like the Scrap It program for British Columbia, where you actually scrap your old car and they will give you $6,000 for it. So you add that onto it, you can also get a very, very generous discount off of your Prime. If you want to go into the XSE trim, that's going to run you just over $51,000. By the way, all the trims qualify for the federal incentive as long as the base model is under the $45,000 threshold. And if you decide to add on the technology package onto the XSE, that's going to run you an additional $5,400. And what does that give you? Well, you get rear cross traffic braking, you get the head-up display full color, you get a 360 camera, the 1500 watt inverter, you get the panel roof, which is the first time in Canada that you can get a panel roof. On all the other RAV4s in Canada, you don't actually get the option of the roof, but now you can. You also get the JBL sound system as well as the hands-free tailgate like we talked about earlier. And those are just a few things that you get with that technology package. On the inside, all Primes come fairly well equipped. We are in the XSE with the tech package, by the way, right now. So, standard though, you get a 7-inch display in your gauge cluster that is configurable. It gives you all of everything that you need to know about how you're driving, what kind of mileage and how many more miles you have for your EV status. Standard is an 8-inch, but if you go into the tech package, we have a 9-inch display, which is the first time in any RAV4 having a 9-inch display. There's nice red stitching. The SE comes standard with cloth seats. By the way, all the seats, front and back, are heated, standard equipment in Canada, as well as a heated steering wheel. If you go into the trim that we have right now, the top trim, you get the Softex, or the fake leather, and not only are they heated, they are also ventilated as well. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto do come standard with this. You get dual climate controls. I really like the RAV4 dials. So on your volume, on your tuning, on your temperature controls, they have that rubber knurling on them. They're easy to grab, and I just like how simple this system is to use. It's not a fancy system. You have your volume, but you want to tune a radio station, guess what? A tuning knob. There's no seeking or scanning or anything like that. It's very, very simple. One thing I have to say though, on this 9-inch screen, it has a lot of real estate, and this XSE with the tech package comes with a 360 camera as well. The resolution is not that good for the cameras. I wish it could be better. Oh, also one other thing about the cameras. This tech package also comes with a digital rear view mirror. So you've seen these on other products. Also, it's available on the regular RAV4. So if you have a whole bunch of people in the back or a lot of goods and you can't see out the back, you just flick that and you have an independent rear camera giving you an unobstructed view. I really like how this RAV4 drives, how it performs, and everything that it offers. Unfortunately, I only have this for a very, very short time for this video. I wanted my wife to take it for a test drive, but it just wasn't possible for this time. Maybe when I can get it back for an extended period of time, because I told her on the phone, I'm like, guess what, honey, we're selling the Highlander. We're gonna buy a RAV4 Prime. Why? Well, we've been talking that we don't even need 3 rows anymore for our next vehicle. She wants an SUV. It just makes sense. For our lifestyle, we could really take advantage of that PHEV, and we would rarely have to fill this at all, which would be a huge bonus. It has enough room for what we need for the girls in the back. And the way it drives, I love the performance of it. It is so punchy. We are going up a steep grade right now, and as long as I don't put my foot to the floor, you barely even know that this gasoline engine is working. It just works that well. If I put my foot down, you can hear it, but other than that, it's really, really seamless. And the fact is that we ran out of our EV juice, yet it just operates like a regular hybrid vehicle after that, and still averages 6 liters per 100K, which is about 40 miles per gallon. You can't complain about that. All right, we are out of juice now. There is 0 kilometers left for the electric vehicle. We maxed it out. Now we are on regular hybrid. We're basically driving as a hybrid vehicle. And that's where it really still shines. I'm doing what a lot of people do. I'm basically in bumper to bumper traffic right now. You can see this, we're basically rolling at 10 kilometers an hour. We're going up a hill, yet for the last probably a couple kilometers, I'm still in EV. Even though it shows 0 kilometers, it's a big enough battery that as long as I don't put too much load on the vehicle, it's operating in EV. This is beautiful. And a lot of people drive in this scenario every day. So even when you don't plug it in or you run out of power, it's still saving you money. So should you buy one of these new Toyota RAV4 Primes? Well, if you're in the market for a fully loaded RAV4 to begin with, well, then the answer is absolutely, especially if you live in a market that actually has EV incentives, like Quebec. You know what? If you live in Quebec, you should be lining up right now to buy one of these, because with your $13,000 of rebates, it makes it basically the same price as a regular RAV4. Couple things I wish you could get a power tailgate on the SE trim, as well as to get that 360 camera as an option. But I do understand they do have to cut some of the content down to keep the price low enough to qualify for those incentives. Hey, at least in Canada, we do get heated seats and heated steering wheel as standard equipment. So if you like the video, make sure hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.